Let's talk today about the value add of a real estate agent. Typically we shoot in here in the office, but it's a really, really nice day outside. So I think that we should just go outside and have this conversation. Let's enjoy the sun while we can. That's San Francisco. So I think it's really important, especially now, being an agent, to truly articulate your value and why you are who you are and why you can perform. And for me, I work with a lot of sellers, and half the time it's just the seller's expectation is very, very important. And I have my notes here, so bear with me. I think for one, it's really important when you're working with sellers that it's a good experience for them. Excuse this truck. But for me, I worked at Starbucks and they always hit on customer service, excellent customer service and what that is. And I think for me, I stand apart because, and I take that in consideration, customer service. What does it feel like to work with me? Am I professional? I even had one seller, I went on a listing interview and he actually gave me the job because of my handshake, which was, you know, my dad always raised me to look somebody in their eyes and shake their hand firm. And it actually worked out for me.
Where are we at that there's this big truck? Like, it looks like a crazy area that we're at.
Oh, this is Alameda. This is the Navy base. This is where our office is, our nonprofit and our real estate office. See right there? We're over there. Yep, so that's where we are. Alameda, the Navy base. This is, they're developing it. There's a bunch of breweries around here. That used to be Palladium, right over there. It's now called SoFi. It's a pickleball place over there. I've been thinking about it. I really want to play pickleball, but my knees have been telling me not to play pickleball. So we're just gonna stick to jiu-jitsu and Stairmaster for right now. So when you're working with sellers, it's really important to make sure it's a good experience. Customer service has to be excellent. When I say excellent, excellent customer service, you have to care for your sellers. Now, some agents, they want to be disconnected from the business a bit. I'm very much so in my business, talking to my sellers, communicating with them, and I'm always just playing what my value add is. And that is a value add for me is customer service. It's really, really important. Now, you're gonna also have to go over what your seller's needs are and their time frame in which they want to execute. It's important to know what your seller is going to do with the proceeds because you may need to help them find a home. A seller decided not to work with me once because he said I didn't listen to him. What he wanted to exchange into, the options that I gave him, weren't what he explained. I lost that client. I learned and I bounced back. But that's really important to listen to your sellers, understand what they need to do and what needs to be done for them to yield the amount of money they need to move forward. And half the time as an agent, you don't just prepare their home. You have to truly study the market. I sell all over the Bay Area, so I don't just focus on one neighborhood. So I study the neighborhoods. I study if people are staging in that neighborhood. I also study how they're staging. And most importantly, I study the pricing strategy. A lot of people, if they want to sell for say 2.8 million, you may want to list that property at 2.4 based on the other comparable sales in that area. That's really important because some sellers may only be doing this one time in their life. When they say, hey, I want 2.8 or I want 3 million for my property, you have to look and see what that neighborhood's list to sales ratio actually is. You have to understand what your clients need, and then you have to study the market to make sure that you're pricing their home in order to yield what they need to move forward. Very important as an agent. At that point, I reach out to my title rep, shout out to Caroline, over at Chicago Title. You guys can go ahead and sponsor me if you want now. I would like that. To get a seller's net sheet. A seller's net sheet is gonna tell my seller what they're gonna walk away with once we sell their property at the price in which they want their property sold. It's gonna show all the expenses needed to sell their property. County transfer tax, city transfer tax. As an agent, you have to know if you're selling in a certain city, if it actually has city transfer tax, because not all cities do, some are unincorporated. So you have to do a lot of digging when it comes to selling in multiple areas. The value of a real estate agent is also very important because you have to know what you have to do to their property to sell at the price in which they want. You're always going to, I'm not even saying it's a struggle, but it's part of our job to relay the value of a home, because a seller's gonna always want top dollar. But not all sellers gonna wanna put money into their home to get top dollar. So it's our job letting them know X amount of money into your property, then you'll yield this amount. I don't think an algorithm can ever do that. I think an actual person has to work with a seller to tell them what they're gonna have to do to their home in order to yield the amount. Whether that's redo a kitchen, redo the floors. Again, we're looking at the properties that sold for the amount that they want. And then what we do is we go into their property and we make their property look like the others that have sold. I think when you're selling a home, a lot of people, this could be the first and only time they do this, whether in the buy side or the sell side. You want it to be a good experience. You don't want it to be confusing. You don't want it to be a headache, and you want it to be stress-free. And I think a good agent and their team is gonna make that happen for their client. You are the glue to everything that needs to be put together. That's what you are as an agent. You're the glue. And you have to be consistent with everything, right? If you contact your clients on Mondays to give them an update, you have to do that every Monday. I think it's the same as just like working out. I think working out is easy, but to do it consistently is a bit hard, right? Waking up early is easy one day. I guarantee by day 4 it's a little bit harder. And it's the same with business. Some days are good, some days are bad, but you have to make sure that you're consistent. You have to stay consistent, because once you're consistent, you fall off. You want to fall back, but you never want to fall off. Save that right there. Call Jerry.